Hello and thank you for joining me in another edition of J Delivers Sports. My name is JD Soto and today we're going to start off by talking about Kobe Bryant, the 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and the second greatest two-guard of all time. These last episodes of The Last Dance began with the duel between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in the 1998 NBA All-Star Game. A duel that seems to have been the beginning of a 2-decade-long friendship between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. One in which they had not only immense respect for each other's games, but immense respect for each other as people. So much so that when Bryant would be asked by strangers if in their primes who would win a one-on-one game, Bryant would refuse to answer, saying, "Without a Michael Jordan, there is no Kobe Bryant." That is the level of respect that he had for MJ. Now, that is not to say that behind closed doors or when it was just them two in a safe environment, there wouldn't be any talking or badgering back and forth. Because let's face it, they are both incredibly competitive individuals. And that really is what made them Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But to outsiders, to media, to random strangers, the level of respect Kobe had for Michael was too much for him to ever disrespect Michael's game in that way. Kobe Bryant, taken from us much too soon. The Dream Team, the greatest basketball team ever assembled, yet it was missing arguably the second greatest point guard of all time, Isiah Thomas. Now it seems that no one really wanted him on that team. He had burned his bridges with Larry Bird, maybe due to the intense competitions in the 80s, but probably more so due to the quote that Isiah Thomas agreed with. He burned his bridges with Magic Johnson. They had been really good friends throughout the 80s. Then Magic gets HIV. Isiah Thomas, not so supportive. He clearly never had any bridges to burn with Michael. The way the bad boy Pistons treated Michael back in the late 80s, and Isiah Thomas being the captain and ringleader, and then not shaking hands, no love there. Pippen didn't like him. Karl Malone didn't seem like he wanted him on the team. He had just developed so much bad blood. So it seems to me that Isiah Thomas's fate of being left off the Dream Team was already sealed. But then to top it all off, John Stockton actually had a better year in 1991 than Isiah Thomas did. The first 10 members were selected in September 91, so that season was real fresh in their minds. Stockton had slightly better counting stats, a much better per, and he destroyed him in the win shares. So you put all this together, and it puts him on the outside looking in. There were still 2 slots, though, one left for an NBA player after the original 10 people were selected in September. That came down to him and Clyde Drexler. Unfortunate for him, Clyde Drexler finished second in the MVP voting in the season directly prior to the 1992 Olympics. You put all this together in a pot. What does it produce? Isiah Thomas being left off the Dream Team. Honestly, I don't even really feel that bad for him because he kind of brought it on himself. If he doesn't have all that bad blood with all these major players, especially Bird, Magic, and Michael Jordan, 3 of the greatest all time, then we're able to look past those first 2 seasons prior to the Olympics and look at his career in totality, which included 2 championships, a finals MVP, and 3 finals appearances. If you're just looking at that and his legacy, he should have been in there just like Magic and Bird were, even though they were no longer in their peaks. But unfortunately, when you ruffle too many feathers, you were left off the Dream Team. There was another interesting Jerry Krause moment in these last episodes as well. One of the common themes has been that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen did not have a great relationship with their GM. And a lot of that Krause kind of brought on himself, and then a lot of that is because Michael and Scottie are ultra competitive. But after the 92 finals in which they beat Clyde the Glide and the Portland Trailblazers, Jerry Krause had a quote saying that the team is great, but, a huge but, this organization is one of the greatest. And it's just another incident of he's trying to take back some of the credit from Michael Jordan, Scottie, Phil Jackson, and the rest of the team and put it back on himself and the Bulls organization, which I guess would be okay if the organization had always been great, if they had always had that foundation, or maybe even if they continued that greatness later on. But this organization being so great was confined to the time that Michael Jordan was there. That's when they were winning, with Michael Jordan, with Scottie Pippen, with Phil Jackson. So it really wasn't that the organization was great. It's that they had great players. If the organization was that great, the culture would have been there before Michael Jordan, which it wasn't, as we found out in the first episodes. It was a quote-unquote traveling cocaine circus. Or the culture and the organization would have still been great after Michael Jordan. But they proceeded to be horrible in 2000s, missing draft after draft after draft until they got lucky with the ping pong balls and drafting Jerry Krause in the late 2000s. Now, probably the most controversial topic showed in these last two episodes was a topic that I know a lot of people were wondering how much this documentary would delve into. And that is Michael Jordan and his gambling. As I watched it unfold and watched some of the media reaction from back in the early 90s, I could not help but think about The Dark Knight and Harvey Dent. You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Isn't that so true? Building people up and tearing them down is something that I guess we crave and desire, that drama as a society. It's not enough that someone's great. Once they're great, we then have to nitpick them and find all the flaws in them. And in my opinion, this actually isn't a flaw. Just like I said in previous episodes, I can't ever fault anybody for going after their money. Now, whether that's reciprocated or not is something else, but it's everybody's right to go after the money when they can. Part two of that, it is everybody's right to spend their hard-earned money the way they desire to spend it. I don't want anyone telling anyone else what to do with their money. That is their business. Michael Jordan enjoyed spending his money on gambling. Some people enjoy spending their money on expensive dinners or expensive wines. Others still love to travel. They go to Thailand, they go to Hawaii, they go to the Bahamas. Some people like to spend their money on expensive cars, expensive houses. The more money you have, the more frivolous you can be with this. And in case any of y'all didn't know, Michael Jordan has a lot of money. To this day, he is worth $2.1 billion. My philosophy, as long as someone's spending within their means, then let them do what they want. Whether those means are $50,000 a year or $2.1 billion, that is 100% their business. I don't understand why the media, why third party, why fans care how someone spends their money. As long as they are not hurting anybody, as long as they are taking care of their loved ones, those outside third party opinions should not matter in the least bit. Michael Jordan, I know you don't need my approval, but you spend your $2.1 billion however you want. I know you still have millions coming in every year from all your investments, from all your brands and commercials you still have, and from your NBA franchise. You go for it. And what ticked me off even more about his gambling, or what others perceived of it, is that the thing that put it over the edge was going to Atlantic City with his father. He was going for some father-son bonding time to get his mind right, to get away from all the media, to get away from all the people that then made a big deal about it. That part's kind of ironic. But it was his free time. How someone unwinds and how someone gets away from the game to clear their head in order to try to perform the best on the court goes back to what we discussed last episode. Mental health. Everyone needs to have their mind right off the court so they can be right on the court. And for Michael Jordan, sometimes that was golf. Sometimes that was gambling. Sometimes it was both. Sometimes it was just watching TV. Sometimes it was spending time with his family. I can't blame somebody for wanting to spend time with their father, doing something that they enjoy doing, that they have the means to do. Thank you for joining me in another episode of J Delivers Sports. My name is JD Soto. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, like, and comment down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Don't tell me how to spend my money, and I won't tell you how to spend yours. You have a good one, folks.